today's session of Q&A Plus, where we take your questions and give you our perspective on some aspect of relationship. So let's get right to it. Today's question comes from Rob. Recently, he says, there was an article about friendship as the key to success in marriage. While it got a lot of internet play, it seems rather self-obvious, which it is. I'm in the 6th year of my own marriage, and I'm wondering what other keys you think there are to successful marriage. Well, thank you for the question, Rob. If you've been following the Relationships Forum, you know that I myself am in my 38th year of marriage with Fleur, my wife. So I could go on and on and on and on, do dissertations about what I think are the keys to success in a marriage. But let me, in this video, give you a half a dozen that I think may be helpful, that certainly come out of my own experience and I've seen corroborated by many, many other people. So let's get started here. The first one is, what I think is really critical is that both people, both partners want the same kind of relationship. That is, you've heard us talk about there are partnership relationships and companion relationships and intimate relationships, and it's really critical that both people want the same type of relationship. So if, for instance, you want an intimate relationship and your wife wants an intimate relationship, you got a great shot at getting an intimate relationship. But if one of you wants an intimate and the other wants a companion, boy, there's going to be a lot of trouble there. The second key that I want to mention here is that it's really important that both partners are self-reflective about their own behavior and their part in the relationship. And what do I mean by self-reflective? What I mean is that both partners are able to look at their own behavior and say, God, what did I just say? Or what did I just do? Or what's going on right now in the relationship? And to really have enough understanding of relationships to reflect to themselves on what they are doing and saying, what is going on between them, what is going on with the other person, with their partner, and then to be able to talk about it and to do course corrections. It's really important, this ability to self-reflect rather than to somehow just kind of go along on the surface of the relationship and not ask what is really going on with me, with my partner, and with the relationship itself. So the third one is it's really, really important that both partners trust one another. And we have an expression, and we're going to do a video about this at a later date, called the knife is always on the table. And what does that mean? Well, it means is as people are in a relationship over time and they become more and more of companions and more of intimates, we really get to know each other's vulnerabilities, each other's weak spots. And metaphorically, either partner at almost any time can pick up a knife, an emotional knife, an intellectual knife, a psychological knife, not a real knife, well, that's really extreme, and go after the other person. And if that happens, forget it. The trust is going to go out of the relationship, and without trust, it's almost impossible to have a successful relationship, successful marriage. The other pieces I think are important that I'd like to mention here is, and this one may be self-evident as well, like friendship, it's really important to have enough skills and enough tools to navigate those tough spots that are inevitable. They will happen. There'll be speed bumps. Sometimes there'll be full-on rapids. But you've got to have the tools, you've got to have the skills to get through them. It's also critical that each person really respects the other person. I mean, I know relationships where people love each other, but you know what? One or the other of the partners doesn't respect the other. Either they're not pulling their share, they're not earning the money, they're not doing the share to take care of the kids, they're sitting around the house complaining, moaning, whatever it is. Without that respect, it's going to be very difficult to have a successful relationship. And the last one I want to mention here, which is often not discussed, most of the things I've said before, you can pick out, you can see it at different parts, different places on the internet or in articles where people talk about relationships. But here's one that really doesn't occur very much in my experience. And that is, over the course of a relationship, people are going to see the worst in each other. People are going to give each other their worst behavior. People are going to be real jerks some of the time. People are going to be forgetful. People are going to be disrespectful. People are going to do behaviors and say things that later on they will regret or say, oh, God, why did I do or say that? That's inevitable. Those instances are inevitable. The danger is when they become a pattern. But in the course of a relationship, let's assume they're not patterns, they're simply isolated incidents where we really are jerks or idiots or whatever it is we are. Over the course of a relationship, people will get to see each other at their worst. And it is through seeing each other at their worst and knowing the other person still loves us, even though we have been such a jerk, that we really begin to see relationships that are the most successful, that really last over time, and that in itself, knowing that somebody has seen me at my worst and still loves me, and the other person feels it as well, is one of the real keys, along with the others, to a successful relationship. So those are some of the keys that I wanted to talk about today. As I said, there are many others that I could have talked about, that I will talk about at other times, but right now I want to encourage you to tell us what you think are the successful keys to a marriage. Many of you are in successful marriages. What's worked? Those of you who are not in successful marriage, what do you think would have helped to make your marriages or your relationships, if you weren't married, successful? Please share those with us. Give us your comments. Give us your feedback. This is a forum. This is a community. This is how we help each other to develop deeper and better relationships. Thank you.